Hey, what's up, everybody? This is your boy Kenny, and this is the Haves and the Have-Nots, Season 6, Episode 4, and the name of this episode is The Lion. Man, this episode was so damn good, but I got two people I'm going to roast this episode. One of them is Hannah, and the other one is Justin, so work with me as I do this, because man, this was a really good episode, and let's just say more was revealed about Hannah and Candace's relationship as to why they don't get along, and as to, what is this thing between them that they just can't see eye to eye. So the episode picks up where it left off. Hannah has her John over, and she's trying to put Candace has her John over, and she's trying to put Hannah and Benny out the room, and Hannah tells Candace, well, I think you need to send him out because he's your father. So all of a sudden the guy's like, huh? What are you talking about, huh? And Candace is like, you're lying. She's like, you don't know that. He's your father. And she's like, you don't know that. She's like, I do know it. He is your father. So eventually the guy was just like, you know what, I ain't here for all this craziness, I'm out of here. So he ends up leaving, and Candace, and then also Candace like, he wasn't really my father, was he? And she was like, and then Hannah was like, I don't know, it could be. So she's saying, you really don't know who my father is. And she's like, honestly, I don't. So she said, so why would you do that? What, you like trying to make me miserable? What was the meaning of you doing that? And she's saying that, Candace, I'm trying to help you, to not live this lifestyle anymore. You laying up with all these men. I mean, just think about it. You could have laid up with that man, and he could have been your father, and you would have never known. And then, it gets to the point where Benny was like, you know what? We're not leaving here without you, and I'm not just going to let you stay here and do this. And she was like, you don't have a choice. And he's like, oh, yes, I do. Either you come with us, or I'm going to drag your ass up out of here. And then we actually see Benny literally try to drag Candace up out of there. And eventually Hannah tells Benny to let her go, and he's like, I'm just not gonna let her be up here doing this. And she kind of pushes him off and was like, man, get the hell out of here, Benny. and then Catherine, I'm sorry, not Catherine, but then Hannah was like, so you mean to tell me you just want to stay up in here and keep sleeping with all these men? Men disrespecting you, treating you just like anything. Why would you let men do that to you? And then Candace was like, why would you let men do that to you? I mean, after all, it seemed to me that apple didn't fall too far from the tree, as far as I'm seeing. And then Hannah was like, yeah, I did my mess, but I never prostituted myself, and I never had sex for money. Oh, but she's like, oh, but you had sex for something. I mean, just because you didn't earn any money doesn't mean that the men didn't pay. But think about it, Hannah. I mean, you ain't really no saint. I mean, after all, you don't even know who my daddy is, so how is that possible? And she was like, you really want to know? And she's like, yeah. Speak, Hannah. Say what you got to say. And Hannah drops the bomb and says that your father was a rapist. So I'm like, whoa, this explains a lot. So she begins to tell the story. When she was young, she was hanging out with her friends. They were at this club. They was drinking and was getting turned. She was kind of drunk. It was like 3 a.m. She was walking home. Her friends went home, but she was only 2 blocks away from her house. So she walks 2 blocks, and on the way she sees this guy who kind of makes a pass at her. But she kind of hurries off, as she says she can feel the guy following her. So eventually she sees her aunt's house and the porch or whatever, but she couldn't find her keys. She gets to the porch and she pretty much sees the guy there, kind of kind of like trying to get to her, and she's on the porch, and she's kind of like in fear because she can't find her keys because she's so fucked up. She don't know how to get in there. She can't find her keys to get in the house. But then her aunt finally shows up. Her aunt is high and strung out, and her aunt, opens the door and lets her in, and the aunt pretty much passes out on the front, pretty much on the front couch. Next thing you know, Hannah said that she went to bed only to be awakened with some guy's, hand over her throat, and she could feel the guy inside of her, and he tells her that if you scream, I'll kill you. So she literally let this show, she pretty much being to the point where she could not defend herself. She literally said this man was raping me, and I was screaming on the inside. And she said the only thing I saw was his eyes, his nose, and the lion tattoo. All of a sudden I was like, oh, so I guess this lion tattoo may pop up later on. So whoever got the lion tattoo is Candace's daddy. Oh yeah. Yeah, we looking for you. We gonna find you. We gonna find you so you can run and tell that homeboy. Coming up here raping people and shit. Making everybody hide their kids and hide their wives. It's crazy as hell. So she tells this story, and she pretty much tells Candace so that, I didn't have any kids, everything was cool, but then after that happened, it changed me. And she said, I didn't want you. I didn't want you at all. And she said she finally told her aunt about it. Her aunt, got herself together, got into a 12-step program and started going to church. And she started getting into church, and church kind of helped her deal with the trauma. And then she found out she was pregnant, and she said, I didn't want no baby. I wanted to get an abortion. So more is being revealed as to why there's such disdain between Candace and Hannah. And she said her aunt told her, you're back in church now, you ain't going to live up in my house and have no abortion, so you're going to have this baby. So she said that for the longest time she didn't feel anything for Candace until one day Candace kicked her when she was pregnant. And she said that's the first time she felt something. And then she said that, you have your father's eyes and you have his nose. And that one thing that I thought was the ugliest thing ever, when I saw you and saw that you had those eyes and had those nose, you were beautiful. And she says that I know I wasn't nice to you. I'm human. Yeah, you are human, Hannah. But do you realize that you planning those things is why Candace turned out the way she did? Like, you're partly responsible as to why Candace is screwed up. You're also partly responsible as to why Benny is screwed up. Because both of them are a mess in their own way. And then she talks about like when Candace got raped, how it devastated her because, she's saying that I hope that one day I can see that light that I once saw in your eyes. I hope that one day I can see that light in your eyes again. And Candace was like, wow, good job, good story. But one thing I don't know if I believe it all, but one thing I will agree on is that, yeah, you did treated me like hell. And then she told her that you can leave now. And then Hannah, sits down. She takes off her little, her little Crocs and was like, Matt 1014. And then she was like, come on, Benny. So her and Benny leave, and then once she leaves, this scene was really hard. It really made me start crying because Candace broke down. Because this is like the first time she found out the truth about who her father was and how she came to be and why there was always so much, disdain and bitterness between her and her mother. All of this has come out. And I'm like, Hannah was a piece of work. So then we see that David is now down at the county trying to talk to Jeffrey, and he's acting as Jeffrey's lawyer. The officer calls the DA, but the DA ain't picking up. So I'm like, that's George on that fuck shit. George ain't gonna be happy that somebody beat his ass. So because pretty much, so pretty much David. So pretty much he tells David that, look, you need to have a seat, sir, because he's like, won't you just call him back? Like, look, he'll get to you when he gets to you, so you just need to sit down. So he sits down and stuff, and all of a sudden this woman that's sitting next to him is like, oh, are you a lawyer? Well, I need somebody to help represent my boyfriend because he isn't here for a crime he didn't commit. He didn't do nothing. It was me. And he was like, well, ma'am, I'm not actually a lawyer. I'm actually a judge. She's like, oh, there go that BS right there. This girl's a mess. And she was pregnant, too. So then we actually see Jim gets a call. Jim's at the Artesian. He gets a call, and it's Sarah. And he's like, so I see you finally reached out to me. So I need you to get over here. And she's like, I can't do that. And he's like, yes, you can. She's like Jim, I can't do that anymore. I'm in a different position. And she was like, yeah, and that's why I want you over here so I can put you in different positions like I always did. I'm like, Jim, if you don't go somewhere with your hoish ass. And then he was like, and then she's like, but Jim, please. And then he's like, oh, you really think I have a moral sense, huh? And she's like, well, I'm hoping you do. And he was like, well, sadly, I don't have one. So I really want you to get your ass over here so I can have you talking to a pillow. I was like, Jim needs his ass whooped. Jim is forever be... I could say, as much as I can't stand Jim be having them one-liners and be having those little catchphrases with the things he says. I'm like, Jim, it don't make no sense how much of a disgusting dirtbag you really are. But that shit was funny. Because he literally is talking to this girl like she's a hoe. And like he's just straight pimping her over the phone. Then we actually see that Benny and Hannah finally, get back to the house. She notices that not only is the sink fixed, but he also washed the dishes, and I'm talking about Derek. And Derek, left her a note or whatever, with his number. And then, Benny's pretty much, talking to Hannah and saying that, he's sorry about everything, and she was like, there's nothing to be sorry. And then Hannah's like, there's nothing to be sorry about. I just look to the Lord and move on. And then all of a sudden he's like, well, have you ever talked to someone? And she's like, no, I talked to God. But she said, but do you talk to someone like a professional? And she's like, what? You think I'm crazy? I'm like, Hannah, it's not the fact that you're crazy, bitch. It's the fact that you have been traumatized. And due to the fact that you have been traumatized, you took out some of that you took out some of that traumatization on your own daughter. Because if you had counseling, you would have learned positive ways to deal with the anger and learn a way to get past it. Never forget it, but get past it to the point where the trauma and the shock of it, you'll be able to get through it. So, I'm like, are you saying I'm crazy? Something wrong with your ass, Hannah. Because obviously the decisions you're making ain't working for you, but yet you keep on still doing the same old dumb shit. So, Benny pretty much tells her that, look, I think you need to see a therapist. And she's like, but she's like, well, how you going to spend your money on that? What money you got? And she said that, look, I'm going to have to go back to work with Mitch. And she's like, yeah, but what truck? I'm like, really? But he says that he's going to borrow it from a friend and everything's going to work out. But he says if I get the money for it, would you actually talk to a professional? And she says yes, she would. So we saw that go on. Then after, Benny leaves, Hannah calls Derek. And this made me so disgusted with Hannah and her mean ass. Because dude is like, all of a sudden, Hannah calls him. Derek is all smiles like, "Hey, Hannah." I was like, that's what's up. He really is digging Hannah. And he was saying that, I want to thank you for the dishes and everything, and thank you for fixing this thing. He's like, no problem. He was saying that, she was like, you didn't have to do the dishes. He's like, yeah, but it was the least I can do. I know you've had that problem for quite some time, so I just went out of my way and, like the man did dishes for you. A man did dishes for you. Dishes that he didn't even use. He did dishes for you. So keep that in mind. He did dishes for her. And when she was saying that, I thank you, I really appreciate it. And, and she was like, well, how much I owe you? He says, well, it comes with the warranty. And she's saying that, I just wish, but she was like, yeah, I really am grateful. And he was like, well, hey, if you really thank me, why not just go out with me for coffee? And she's like, take me out? And he's like, yeah, we can go out for a cup of coffee. And she's like, well, you mean like on a date? No, he means like going out to drink some coffee, you simple ass. And then it got to the point, she was like, you want to take me out? Why? And he's like, well, I'm actually just, I think that, obviously you got a lot on your mind, and I just wanted to cheer you up and just talk to you and get to know you. And she's like, well, the answer is no, I'm not interested. So he's like, well, okay, well, maybe if you change your mind, give me a call. She's like, I won't change my mind. I'm like, Hannah, you mean ass. Ooh. I was so heated with that. I'm like, this dude did dishes for you. You acting like you got niggas lining up to do your dirty ass dishes. He did your dishes. That wasn't a part of his job. That was him showing kindness. You mean to tell me that you couldn't crawl in the crevice of your ass to show some kindness back by just going out for coffee? Ain't like he was asking for TNA. He just wanted some time to, to talk and get to know you. And you just being just mean and vindictive. Well, I'm sorry, I've been going through stuff. See, that's the reason why you need a therapist, bitch. You need to stop taking shit out on other people. It ain't his fault of what's going on with anything that's going on, and here it is, you just taking all this anger out on him. And it made him feel some kind of way, because I was like, man, you ain't have to come at him like that. Telling someone, I talked to God. Well, obviously, you talking to God, but God is obviously telling you, and we actually know God has already been giving you the ram in the bush, and you complain about it. So obviously, boo, you talking to God, but you don't listen to him, and that's your problem. Hannah. So, yeah, I'm not going to be nice. And some people may be upset that I'm going after Hannah. Well, that's just too bad. Because Hannah needs a reality check for real. And how the way she talked to Derek, I was really pissed off. Like, you ain't have to come at that man like that. That man was nice enough to fix your sink and do your dishes, and all he wanted to do was take you out for some coffee. You should have at least had the common sense to say, well, I really would love to, but now is not a good time. But you just completely blew him off, and you did it in a very nasty way. So of course, Catherine is trying to set this up. So after he gets off the phone with Hannah, Catherine's like, "Oh, so what happened? What did she say?" She said no, but he kind of notices that, from the sound of her voice, something's really bothering her. But she turned me down. He's like, you know what? Then Catherine's like, I'm gonna call her. He's like, no, don't do that. You're gonna make it obvious. And he's like, but she says, but I want you guys to go out. I want you guys to have a good time. And he's like, he's like, well, obviously something's really bothering her. She's like, well, I'm gonna call her. He's like, well, can you wait until I'm out of here for you to do that? Don't do it right now because you're gonna make it obvious, that something's going on. So You know, so kind of wait a minute before you call. And she's like, okay, fine, I'll wait for you. Just let me know when you're done. I'm like, Catherine's a mess. So then we see Benny and Mitch. Benny's outside waiting for Mitch. Mitch calls and lets him know that his uncle will be at the spot later, but then he says, are you sure you want to do this? And he's like, oh yes, I'm game with it. So he's like, alright, I'll be there in a little bit. So then he gets another call, so he takes the call, and it's Veronica. Veronica's like, you know, hey Benny, and then of course, Benny's like, hey, how you feeling? She says, I'm okay, and she's like, and Benny's like, well, how can you be okay? You're still in the hospital. And she's like, well, they're just keeping me here for observation. And she's like, I really thank you. I owe you. You saved my life. And he's like, I just did what anybody else would have done. And she was like, not true, because the girl in the car was with me, she didn't do anything to help me. And she asked, are you still at the hospital? And he was like, well, no, I left. He's like, well, could you come back so I can thank you in person? I'm like, you feel a little lonely in the hospital because, your son locked up. David, at this point, don't even know you in the hospital. So she don't got nobody. And she's literally there alone. And here it is, she's looking for Benny to be her companion. See, that's what happens when you're like a mean person. You find yourself by yourself, and the one person that actually reaches out to you is the one person you were mean to. So yeah, so we saw that go on. But he'll say that he'll try to stop by and see her and everything. Then we get a scene with Candace and this the new girl we met from the last episode. Her name is Gia. So Candace pretty much says that, she's like, so what's your name? And the girl said Gia. She's like, oh no, your new name is Bottom Bitch. I'm your pimp, and I'm here to show you the ropes of how you're gonna make money in this game. And she says, like, turn around. And so she kind of turns her around. She's like, okay, you got a nice ass, nice tits. If anything, this dress. And then she like whips the dress, and she's like, I can't believe you ruined my dress. She's like, no, you should blame the dollar store that you bought it from. I at least tried to make it decent. But she said, but this is what you're gonna do. You're gonna go to Erica, and she's gonna get you some clothes. And then she's like, I'm not doing that. She's like, bitch, do you want me to beat you? And she's like, at first she was like asking, so you're a hoe, right? And she's like, I'm not a hoe. And then she's like, it's my first time. And she's like, bitch, stop lying. This ain't your first time. And then, but then she says that, and then she's like, but then G was like, well, pimping. She's like, yeah, I know. Pimping ain't easy. But she says, but if you roll with me, I can make you like $10,000 a night, And then she tells her to unlock her phone, and she says no. And she says, I said unlock your phone. And she says no. So all of a sudden, Candace slapped the dog shit out of Gia and was like, bitch, tell me no one more time. So she unlocks the phone, she puts her number in it, and pretty much tells her, you will be working every Tuesday and Friday. You will meet Rocky at the bar, and you're going to call Erica to get you some clothes. So until the next time I need you, get the hell out of here, and be on your P's and Q's. And she sends the girl out, and I'm like, see, that's exactly what Hannah did. Hannah took out her anger out on Derek, just like Hannah is taking out her anger on Gia. So it seemed to me, yeah, the apple didn't fall too far from the tree. Yeah, Hannah may have never been a hoe, but Hannah never made no good choices in men, and neither does Candace. Apple didn't fall too far from the tree. So then we see David is still waiting, at the county, and the officer was kind of real nasty with him and shit, because he's like, look, I've been here all night, what's going on with the DA's office? He's like, look, they're just not answering. He's like, well, you need to call him again. He's like, sir, you need to sit down and be patient. And that's to the point I was just like, ooh. But then again, he's doing his job. So he's like, he can't get the DA. So because he can't get the DA, he can't go back to see Jeffrey. So he calls Jim, and Jim is like, so Jim is like, what's going on? He's like, look, do you know anybody in the DA's office? He was like, no, I don't know nobody in the DA's office. What's going on? He said that Veronica had Jeffrey arrested. He's like, wow. Just the lengths she would go just because she can't accept that her son is gay. But then he said that, look, I don't know anybody in the DA's office, but Catherine's father's name holds a lot of ground out here. But do not tell her that you spoke to me, because she won't fucking help you. But call her but call Catherine for yourself, which he does, and immediately she was like, tell Jim I ain't giving him shit. I'm like, Catherine is like, seriously, is not playing any games. But he lets her know, like, no, it's not for Jim, it's for Jeffrey, and he lets her know about what Veronica did by framing Jeffrey for the murder of Quincy. And then he asked, do you know anybody in the DA's office? She's like, of course I do. And then, she actually lets him know, oh yeah, I'm sorry about what happened to Veronica. And he was like, what? What are you talking about? She's like, oh, you didn't know? Veronica was in a car accident. He was like, oh my God. He was like, how is she? And Candace was like, who cares? I'll call you back. I'm like, bitch! I'm like, I love me some Catherine Price. She gave me so much life in the 2 scenes she was in. She was just giving me life like crazy. She's like, man, who cares? Fuck that bitch. I thought that was funny. Then we get one of the ending scene of this episode with that damn Justin, and I'm gonna light Justin's ass up. So Justin, aka Glenn Close, decides to he decides to get Jeffrey out the cell and was like, come with me. So he is, being all rough with Jeffrey a little bit. He gets him in the roof, and he gets him into that little private room that he's been taking it in, where he's been filling him up. And then he's like, I ought to bash your face in. He's like, Jeffrey's like, what the hell are you talking about? And then he's like, call. And then all of a sudden we see that Jeffrey's phone is ringing, and it's Wyatt. And what ends up happening is that he says, answer it. So he's like, I can't answer it, I'm handcuffed. So he answers the phone. It's like, okay, talk. And also he's like, hello. He's like, Jeffrey, what's going on? He's like, Jeffrey's like, I can't talk right now. He's like, well, why did you answer the phone? And he's like, yo, I don't know what's going on with that asshole you're talking to, but what's with that guy? And then he's like, and then all of a sudden Jeffrey, and then all of a sudden Jeffrey, and also Justin's like, I'm warning you. And then Wyatt's like, what the hell are you doing on the phone? Like, what the hell is going on, Jeffrey? He's like, so are you with this guy? Huh, Jeffrey? Are you with him? Huh? And I'm like, see, Justin needs to be put in a straitjacket, or he needs to be 6 feet under. I'm giving him benefit of the doubt because at first I kind of like Justin, but Justin has completely went across the line. Like, first of all, you're going through this man's phone, you don't pay not one damn bill or anything, and here it is, you going through this phone, checking him about his friendship with Wyatt. So Wyatt starts playing around and was like, oh, really? Won't you tell him, Jeffrey? Yeah, Jeffrey's my lover. He's like, oh, really? That's what it is? She's like, yeah, me and Jeffrey are together. You didn't know? Well, it's like, no, I didn't. Like, well, you know now. Jeffrey's my man. And I'm like, see, Wyatt, you keep on playing these damn games, Justin gonna come up there and he gonna beat your ass. Like, you really trying it. So then, so then he's like, yeah, we together. sorry, sorry to tell you this, but yeah, Jeffrey's my man. So Jess was like, you still at home? He's like, yeah, I'm still at home. He's like, yeah, I'm coming to see you. He's like, okay, I'll be waiting for you, text. Like, Wyatt, keep it up. Keep it up. Keep it up. I'm just like, it was funny, though. I'm like, why keep it up? You keep on messing with his crazy ass. He gonna come up in there and he gonna really body you out like he did before. And this time you won't get up. So all of a sudden, after he gets off the phone with Wyatt, Justin starts chastising Jeffrey about Wyatt, like, what the hell is he doing calling your phone? He's called 7 times. You know, damn you, Jeffrey. And it's like, he's saying that, why are you so jealous? Like, what is going on? I don't understand this. And he's like, I also see your emails. You know, you send him emails, and then you're saying that, oh, I still have feelings for him and all that. Who's this sent to? And Jeffrey said, I sent that to myself. You know, those are my private emails. Why are you going through my things? And he's like, just keep it up, and I will send you back. I'm gonna send you back to that cell, bloody. And Jeffrey was like, I'd like to see you try. And all of a sudden, started seeing him back up. I'm like, yeah, because you know Jeffrey will beat your ass. You just kind of got, you just pretty much got the upper hand because Jeffrey's handcuffed. But we know Jeffrey can handle himself. So then he starts talking about the private emails and everything, and then he's saying that, you know, I can't believe you, Jeffrey. I can't believe you would do this to me after everything I did for you. You know, and he's saying that, what you mean what you done for me? I'm still in jail right now. But he's like, but you're about to get out, though. And I even got an apartment for us. I'm like, bitch! What? You still married. You ain't even dealt with your wife. And you already trying to get an apartment for you and Jeffrey? Like, really? I think, hey, I guess the deed must have been real good, because you just doing all kind of crazy shit. I mean, you up here threatening Wyatt because you see Wyatt as a threat. Now you up here getting apartments and crap so that you and Jeffrey can be together. And we can easily see that Jeffrey is not feeling this at all, and he's saying that, yo, this is completely way more than I signed up for. And he says that, you know what, you're crazy. And he's like, I'm not doing this. And he's like, oh, you're doing this. And he's like, let me out of here, or I'm going to kick that door, and I'm going to get somebody to get me. I'm going to kick that door. He says, watch what happens when you do. So Jeffrey walks right over there to the door and says, like, hey, let me out. Let me out. And then he starts to choke Jeffrey out. And I'm like, ooh, Justin, with your Glenn Close Fatal Attraction ass. Like, Justin ain't gonna be happy till somebody put him out of his fucking misery. Because that's exactly what's gonna happen. We're gonna have to do you like Kathy Bates, bitch. We're gonna have to take you out of here because you have completely went to another level of crazy. And we actually see next week, David walks in while he's choking Jeffrey out. So, this is gonna be interesting. So, that's what I have, y'all. If I missed anything, put it down in the comments. I'd love to talk to you guys about it. But yes, I'm so here for the have and the have-nots. Also, to let you know, I'm going to be reviewing this show every Wednesday because Tuesdays I work, so I won't be able to do it Tuesdays anymore. But check for Wednesday because I will be posting it. And also, I would like to give my shout-outs. Let me shout out to my brother, the Jedi. Let me shout out to my sister, Kai of Rambling Reviews. Let me shout out Lynette and Stanley of Random TV Reviews. Yes, love you, fam. Let me shout out to James Caldwell, Ashley Miller, Romy, Mike B. Definitely Mike B, because Mike B does good reviews of the haves and have-nots. Definitely check him out. And definitely, my best friend, Kenneth Tukes of the K2 Spot. He does great music reviews. Check him out. So, oh yeah, and also Misha Houston. Misha Houston does great reviews of the haves and have-nots, and if Love You Is Wrong. So definitely check out my girl Misha Houston. So that's what I have, y'all. If I missed anything, put it down in the comments. But subscribe to my channel. Click that bell so you get notifications every time I drop a video. Also, follow me on all of my social platforms. I have them listed in the description box. Also, like this video, comment on this video, and share this video. And I will be back with the next episode of the Haves and the Have-Nots. Man, this season is good, and I'm on the edge, and I'm waiting to find out who got that damn lion tattoo. So until next time, everybody, take care.